Hi builders, what if I told you that with AI, you can automatically create fully formatted proposals that you can send to your leads via email. And all you have to do is join the call, and once the call is finished, everything will happen automatically, and then you will have that proposal in your inbox ready to send to your leads. If you're new here, my name is Frank, and I've built an AI system in n8n that exactly does that. And honestly, it's a complete game changer. Once you're finished with your Google Meet call, there's going to be an AI tool in the background that's going to transcribe all that call, then send that transcription to the n8n workflow, generate the proposal automatically, and then have that ready for you in your email inbox, ready to send. No manual work, no wasted time. And by the end of this video, you'll exactly know how to set this up so that you can automate the process by yourself. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Okay, so before going through the build, I first want to take you through a demo. So what I've done here is I've invited myself to a call. Wanted to tell you, by the way, you see Microsoft here. I'm just quickly going to announce that I've been invited to join the Microsoft Creators Program. So now I am officially partnering with Microsoft to deliver knowledge. I'll leave a link down below so that you can see my page in Microsoft and learn more about it. So I made a test meet here, and I'm going to click that and perhaps join it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just recreate a conversation that I would have with a lead, okay, about a project. So I'm going to mention stuff like, and this is really important that, you ask the right things as well, so that the system in n8n also has the right information. So perhaps you would have a little set of notes of questions to ask, okay? I don't want to talk, so I'm going to have ChatGPT say it. And I'm probably going to cut part of the call or whatever so that you don't have to watch the whole thing, okay?
Hey James, thanks for hopping on the call. Excited to learn more about Finlytics?
There we go. It's doing the extracting the relevant information from the transcript. Then the proposal model is preparing the variables that we're going to then replace on the Google Slides. So we're using ChatGPT 4.0 in this case. Now we're copying the template file. We're copying that. Now we're replacing that copy that has variables with the actual text that has been generated by GPT. And then we are creating a draft with the link to that new Google Slides, okay? So pretty neat, and now we're going to see how that looks like. So in this case, James from Finlytics, February the 12th, right? You can change this naming system, but it keeps it original because it contains the date, right? You can change that format as well, and then the time with the seconds and hours and the minutes. But if you click here, we're gonna see what that looks like. So it created an entire presentation with all the necessary details to then send to James from Finlytics. So it says sales automation for Finlytics, automating lead follow-ups and enhancing the AI setup. So we understand the struggles, Finlytics struggles with manual processes, right? So it got the right details from the calls. We processed it in a way in n8n that then we can put as variables and then straight onto the slides. So this is pretty neat. You can see here, look, it prepares the proposed solution. So the three main features that we're going to add, and then in the AI solution, what's actually going to be delivered as a project. We even have the timelines, right? It considers that, February the 8th, 2025, 15th, 25, March 8th, right? So it's pretty cool. It's fully personalized. Then we have the costs. So ideally, you want to make sure that you clarify everything in that call, right? You can change the system to extract the right information, right? This was a demo call that I made. I guess in this call, a range was given, right? But perhaps you want to have a list of questions there and define the actual budget and how much you're going to charge per project. But if you don't want to do that, obviously you can change the n8n workflow, right? This is just a way to show you how you can get a call, get that information from that call, and generate automatically a presentation, right? And then send that. So this is pretty powerful. And now we're going to see the email that I created an email as well. So I created this. I'm not sending it to anybody yet. Haven't sent it to anybody yet, but the link works. So I'm going to send it to myself through another email so that you can see that this actually works. There you go. So that's the one. Hey, thanks for the insightful call earlier, as promised. You'll find the details, and then we're gonna click here. It drives us to that presentation that I showed you before. The $3,000 is basically the budget or the proposed cost divided by 2. So you're gonna see how I've done this. But I think it's pretty cool. It saves you a lot of time, and you leave a good impression, right? You leave an amazing impression to the lead, because after the call, you're doing this so quick, right? So it does look like you're spending your time, you're putting your attention, and you're taking care of that lead. And there's a high chance you're closing that lead if you're showing him something like this, right? Especially as soon as the call has finished, right? The reason why I'm putting it as a draft as well is so that it's always good to have an element of human fact checking, because as you understand, LLMs are non-deterministic. There's errors embedded in them, in their nature. So it's always good to add a human step, right? So my human step in this case is to add a draft, right? To not send it directly. So the call ends, you go in and check the drafts, right? Then you can check the presentation, make sure it's all right. It's only going to take a minute or two, probably change a few things, and then ready to go. Then you can send it. So that's it. That's the beauty of this. It's going to save you so much time. So perfect. Okay, now that you've seen the demo, let's get straight to it and I'll show you how you can build this from scratch, okay? So let's go through this step by step on n8n. Okay, so now we are in the n8n workflow and let's go through this step by step, okay? Let's understand what happened step by step. So first of all, I was in the call by myself. Ideally, you want to be with another person, in this case, your lead. So what's happening? So in the middle of the call, I have this transcription tool called Fireflies that is transcribing the audio into text, okay? In real time. So once the call is done, the text is being saved in Fireflies servers. So what I'm doing here is I'm asking Fireflies to please send me information about that meeting. So I'm receiving a meeting ID to this webhook address, right? This webhook address, which corresponds to this workflow. So that's what's happening first. How do I set this up? Well, you're gonna go to your settings, right? Make sure you create an account on Fireflies AI. And once you're done here, you're gonna go to settings and then on developer settings, okay? So we got kind of two sections, right? Settings with API key and settings with a webhook. We're gonna use both. So first of all, we are going to add the webhook address corresponding to this node. Okay, you essentially just have to copy this, okay? Copy that, you can click it and it gets copied automatically, and then you're gonna paste that there. There's no need to add a secret key, so then once you paste that there, you're going to hit save. And make sure to click this, okay? When transcription is completed, the Firefly server is going to send the meeting ID to this webhook. So once we receive the meeting ID, you see this meeting ID here, okay? So we're gonna use that on the next step. So now that we have the meeting ID, we can go now and ask on the Firefly server, hey, here's the meeting ID. Can you pass me the transcription from this meeting? Then Firefly is gonna say, yes, okay, you gave me the meeting ID, perfect. I'm going to send you that back, okay? I'm going to send you the transcription. So now over here on the right, you can see the output of that, right? The output of this HTTP request. It's presented in a weird way. So we have this sentences array, and we have different sentences objects, okay, in this array. So sentences 0, 1, 2, 3, these little objects represent snippets, okay, or sound bites, if you may. So you can see here it has a start time and it has an end time. So that was the time I was speaking, right? There's parts of the call where there's pauses. There's no point in transcribing pauses, right? So I'm only going to get the active, right, where I'm talking. So that's what it essentially means. And the reason I'm saying to have various speakers is because you can use this feature called speaker ID, right? It catches who is speaking, right? In this case, the whole transcription has speaker ID 0. Because it's me. If the lead was speaking, then you would see speaker ID 0 and also speaker ID 1, right? It will be alternating. You got all this information, but what do we do with it now? Okay, now we need to clean it up in a format that can be added onto the presentation, right? Oh, also, perhaps you want to understand how to set this HTTP request. The URL is going to be this one, okay? Unlike other requests, we're making a very special query in this one. I perhaps didn't explain it before. So you need to make a post request to this URL, right, as mentioned here. It says GraphQL here because the type of query that we're making is not the typical queries that we do with other tools. It's not like a REST API query. Anyways, you don't need to understand the details. What you need to understand though is the type of authentication you need to add here, okay? So we already used this one. Now we're going to use this API key, right? We're going to use this to actually collect the text, right? The transcript from that meeting ID. You're gonna grab that, okay? Grab this API key, and now we're going to create an authentication header, okay? So choose header, generic credential type. Now, this one. So you're gonna open this and put authorization, and then this is gonna be bearer. This is the typical authentications that you do when you're making API calls to different services. So I'm gonna pull my notes app up so that you understand what I mean. So you had authorization, right? I don't know if you can see that. It's probably I'm gonna use this presentation. This is not important, so I'm gonna write here. We had authorization, right? Which is the name, and then the value for this, bearer, and then a space, and then you're going to put your API key, okay? Your API key goes here. I'm gonna make up an API key, so bearer, and then you can add something like this, okay? So remember, bearer, and then a space, and then your API key. So once you added that, you're probably going to have a button here with save. Make sure you save it and that everything is pulled successfully. So once you're done with that, perfect. Now we are going to send some information, right? Using header auth. So you click this in green, specify the headers, and you're going to put content type application/JSON. So this is typical stuff that you do. I haven't reached the unique part yet, so I'm gonna go up there. Now we're gonna send the body, okay? The request is the unique thing that you don't see a lot. Body content type JSON. Now we're gonna specify the body using JSON, okay? This looks a bit weird, right? I mean, look at this. It's not the typical API request that you do. Why? Well, this query language is not REST API language. This is called GraphQL, and this is something that Firefly uses as their preference for doing queries. So yeah, so if you go to this, I'll probably leave the link in the YouTube description, but Firefly's API, specifically the API, is built on top of GraphQL, a powerful interface designed to provide you with whatever, okay? So there's advantages to it and whatnot. So the typical ones that we use is REST APIs. All of my videos have used REST APIs. This is the first time I present you with GraphQL, different method. If you want to read more about this, make sure to go to the link. I'll leave it in the description. But anyways, we are right here, and make sure the only important thing is that you need to add here the meeting ID. Okay, where are we going to grab this from? We're going to grab this from the previous node, right? This is the webhook node from before. In order to test this, you either do the call and then wait and then receive this webhook, right? Make sure you're testing the workflow. Or you can remove this, right, to make it a bit easier and add this click trigger. Okay, so this will trigger anytime you hit text workflow. You don't need to wait for this webhook. So you can deactivate this. We're going to activate this back. And instead of having JSON.body meeting ID here, we're going to remove this, okay? For testing purposes. Perhaps you don't want to make a call every time to test this. And we're going to go to Fireflies. We're going to go to, let's get some meetings. You're going to go to this URL here, and you're going to see that we have a string. Okay, that is the meeting ID. So if you want to test the same transcript, because you don't want to get in calls all day, make sure to copy that and paste that there. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to test this again because it's a bit of a hassle, but you go ahead and do it. I'm going to leave it as it was before. Okay, JSON body.meeting ID. So hopefully that was clear. That's all you have to do there. So now that we made the request to Fireflies and we have the transcript, now we're going to clean it further and classify them as variables, so that then we can process it further in the next LLM chain or LLM step. Before moving on, I want you to understand the difference between these nodes and AI agent nodes. So you can find these if you click plus and then you click Advanced AI, and then these are here, okay? Information extractor, extract information from text in a structured format, which is ideal. And then we're using the OpenAI chain here. Most videos that you see out in YouTube are about AI agents with regards to n8n, right? Easy way to make AI agents, easy way to build AI agents in n8n. And I want to clarify to you that most of these are made for marketing. If you create YouTube videos and you put AI agents, there's a high chance you're gonna get a lot of views on it. So all of these workflows that you see around n8n, around AI agents, might not be that useful. The way you're gonna see this is, let's say you're going to your grandma's house and your grandma's house is a minute away, okay? You can walk to your grandma's house and it takes a minute. Are you going to walk to your grandma's house, or are you going to use a bus or a car? You're going to walk, right? Why would you lose time getting in the car, starting the car, and then getting to your grandma's house? So this is the same point with this stuff. The car in this case is the AI agent, and walking is using these LLM chains. You need to understand that there's different use cases for these, okay? You can't just add an AI agent to everything. In fact, actually, if you add AI agents to many of these workflows, it might work at a disadvantage to you. So my point is, you need to understand when to use LLM chains or basic LLM calls and AI agents. In most cases, you're fine with using LLM chains and LLM calls, okay? So make sure you learn when to use each. I'm not saying that AI agents are bad, but they have their own place, their own use cases. So I'll probably make a video about this next week or this week. So if you want to see a video about that, which I think is very important for you guys to understand, let me know down in the comments. But anyways, we're going to continue. So what's going on in this information extractor? I mean, first of all, you have to add the Anthropic chat model, okay? Well, you can add whatever. You can add OpenAI as well. Does the job. So first of all, we need to select the text that we want to turn into structure format. In this case, some variables, some neat variables. The native way is this, but as a schema, it's nice. You can, drag it across and all that in n8n. But anyways, I'm adding here an expression. You can see here, this sentences array, we have different objects, okay? And these different objects, you can't natively. You can't just drag them nicely here and have the LLM consider them. So what I'm doing is adding this expression so that I grab this whole array and I blob it together. I join it all together as a blob so that then it's easier for the language model to interact with, right? The language model will find it easier because it's just an entire blob of text. Because there's an issue with passing different objects separately and so on. And what you usually do is in make, for example, you have several steps behind this one that transform that data, join them together. But the beauty about n8n is that you can write a simple expression like this one without the need of having additional nodes. So this is great. So yeah, nothing crazy going on. I'm just joining all of these different objects together in all the sentences objects all together, just joining everything together. And now what are we doing down here? We're grabbing this and we're saying to the language model, hey, please, grab all that relevant information and assign all that information to different variables. So in this case, we have the lead name, we have the company name, the website. You can, change these variables depending on your use case, right? If you want different data to be added into the presentation or the document, okay? In this case, I thought it was important to add lead name, company name, as you see here. So yeah, the important thing as well is that this is all going to be interpreted by the language model. So make sure your descriptions are good. So in here, I say, identify the name of the person we're speaking to in the meeting, add unknown if it's not mentioned. So unknown in this case is regards to anything that. So this is what I was saying before. If you're going to a call with the lead, make sure that you ask questions to be able to fill in these variables, right? So that's what I meant before, back in the video. Make sure your descriptions make sense, detect and extract company name, extract any URLs. So in my case, I would say, okay, I will have a list of questions. Hey, what's your name? There you go. That's lead name sorted. I'm saying this so that the process, this workflow is as smooth as possible and you ensure that you don't miss any information, right? So from these, you create questions that you're gonna ask the lead, and that's it. And once you have that, then the process is gonna go so nicely. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to fill in a form. You don't have to be aware of anything. Just ask the right questions and you'll have the right document created. So in this case, ask about the problems, mention a solution, make sure you mention a budget as well. You want to be maybe perhaps a bit more specific with the budget as well. Mention a value of what's going to happen later with this budget variable. As I said, you can change this, but this is how I'm doing it for this use case. Anyways, hopefully that all makes sense. But yeah, add your descriptions and I would put as required all of them. Okay, cool. So that's that. Now the output of this is going to be added into this next LLM step or LLM chain. So these variables, which are just cleaner variables from that transcript, we are going to create a series of new variables. These are the variables that we're going to use to do that, to automate the creation of these slides, okay? These Google slides for our presentations. The way this works is, well, first of all, you have to connect your credential. Let's see if I missed anything here. I think it's all good. Yeah, okay, cool. So coming back here, you select your OpenAI credential, resource text, let's message a model. I choose for all because it's relatively quick and it does the job. Now we're putting a system prompt, very important. You want to hype it up. That's usually the rule. Helpful, intelligent system that generates the best proposals. Now this one is important. So the user role here. The key thing is that I wanted to output, this is the format that you need to follow in order to create the variables, the right variables. Also important thing, I add, which I forgot to add before in the demo, by the way, there was something wrong with I didn't add the right variable. You need to add the current date so that it's able to do the timelines properly, right? If you go back to the demo, you'll see that it's on the 8th of, the first timeline is on the 8th of February. So yeah, because it had the wrong date. So I'm giving it that date here, but yeah, that's that. And then I'm giving it an example, I'm giving it another example, and now here we are including the output from the previous node right here, okay? So that it's able to, process something. So now we have these. Perhaps this doesn't make much sense now, but it will make sense in the next steps. So now what we're doing is we're gonna manipulate the proposal template now. So I'm gonna leave these in the description. So let's have a look at this proposals template. So you're gonna see that it has variables. So in the next nodes, essentially we're going to find and replace these variables and replace them with the actual values of the variables that we generated just right here. There's actual values for these. So find this and replace it with this. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. So Google Drive. We're adding a Google Drive node and we're copying the template. Where am I grabbing this from? Well, I'm grabbing this from here. In the URL, you're going to see that after the slash and before the next slash with the editing, This is the ID of the presentation or the Google file. So you're going to be able to grab that and paste it here. So now we're saying, okay, we're grabbing this and we're creating a copy of it. And this one is, well, what do you want to name it? And this is where you can get a bit fancy with it. So this file is James from Finlytics to keep everything nice and simple. Let's say you have 1 million documents here and you want to find James from Finlytics, right? It's just a way of naming things, but feel free to add whatever you want. Now I added a unique identifier, which is the date and time. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be no duplicates. If you run this automation a couple of times, I'm pretty sure every file is going to be unique. That's why you add some form of numbers, unique strings or something. Usually the date and time is what makes it unique. That does the job. I copying it in the same folder and yeah, I'm copying it, resource file. That's great. Credentials. Okay. This is where it gets a bit involved. I'm going to show you how to set this up. The way this works is that you have to create a Google Cloud project. Don't worry, that's fine. I'm going to take you through it. You're going to go to Google Cloud Console. Okay, make sure you create an account and whatnot. And you are going to create a new Google Cloud project. So hit new, give it a name and whatnot. I'm not going to do it because I already have one. And you're probably going to be presented with this. Okay, once you create the project. Now, the first thing that you have to do is enable the right services. So we're interacting with Gmail and Google Docs, perhaps, and Google Slides in this case. We're going to activate all those three. Why Google Docs? Well, I added this Docs node in case you want to create a proposal as a document instead of a presentation. But anyways, so let's go back to here and let's enable some services. So go to Google Slides. Okay, so Google Slides API, there you go. I already have it, so that's why it's like that. You should do Google Drive as well. It's good practice. Google Drive API, Google Docs, right? And Google Mail or Gmail API. Cool. So make sure you add all of those. And once you're done, so you're gonna go to APIs and services, and you could add the stuff here, whatever. But once you have these, now you're gonna go to credentials. So I'm gonna select, okay, make sure also you select the project, call it something as well regarding n8n, because you might create other projects in the future. Go to credentials and create an OAuth 2.0 client ID. And once you have it, this is the client ID. If you go and edit your ID, you're going to also get the client secret. Okay, this is what you need. So grab those two, go back to here. Okay, obviously create a new credential for Google Drive. Yeah, actually you need Google Drive and add them right here. So once you do, you're going to sign in with Google. You're going to choose your account, continue. And then once it's all done, you're going to have something like this, close it, and you should be good. Now you've authenticated. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I explained everything here. Now, once we copy the file with a new name, right now it's James from Finlytics. Now we're going to do the replacing. If I showed you before, the template had all these variables that needs replacing with the actual information. Let's have a look and see how this looks. This one is a bit tedious. There's a lot of stuff, but hopefully if you download this template, everything should be there. You should only need to do minimal changes. Anyways, the presentation ID, you're going to grab it. Oh, once again, so make sure to do this authentication. It's the same thing as well. Client ID, client secret, the same. Make sure you have all of the APIs and services, all the services added, as I mentioned before, but this should be the same. So once that's done, presentation, replace text, and this presentation ID is gonna come from here, right? Google ID here. So this is the copy, the copy of the template, because we don't wanna replace the original template, right? Now what we're doing is make sure to match case. So we're replacing the slides title in this case. So let's go back. We're replacing slides title with this value here from the previous node in the proposal model, right? Remember that we had a lot of variables which are actually named the same coincidentally. So what we're doing is essentially in this node, hey, let's replace all of these. Let's find them and replace them with all this stuff. Okay, so you're gonna do the same for all of this, all the way down. Okay, make sure to do it for all of them. It's a bit tedious, but trust me, at the end, it's gonna pay off. It's pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to match case. And once you're done, then that's pretty much it. That should be the document done. So then it should look something like this, right? So cool. Oh, okay, let's remove that. Okay, whatever, let's leave it like that. But yeah, once you're done there, now we can refer it as a draft. So we're gonna go here to this Gmail node. Once again, same thing. That's why this is so helpful to set it up the way I set it up before, right? You choose all the services already. Just connect your account, sign in with Google, and yeah, so draft. We're gonna create a draft of the email. Add your subject, text. You can add HTML as well if you want, make it look fancy. The thing is that with HTML, it might look a bit scammy, So be careful with that. You know how you design your emails with HTML. Essentially, what we have here is thanks, all this stuff, and we're adding a URL. So there's a static part of the URL that's never going to change, /view. You can also do /edit if you want the lead to change, to have the ability to change the presentation. But the dynamic part is this one here, right? This ID thing that we're going to grab from the previous node right here, right? Just drag it there. And this is corresponding to, whenever you open a presentation, as I mentioned before, this alphanumeric string in between the slashes. So that's what it is. And that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do. I have the option here of doing it with a document, which I'm going to show you now. So let's remove that. Let's put it here, connect this together, replace doc text with actual data. And we have to change something from here. Let me remember. So the file that we have to copy, right? So this file is the template for the presentation. Now we are copying the template for the Google Doc. Let me show you how it looks. Pretty much the same, right? We're gonna grab this ID, copy that, paste that here. Make sure we did that correctly. Cool. Okay, so now we have that. I think we need to call the HTTP request again. Okay, let's do a dummy one. So let's go to Fireflies as before. Going to grab this one. Okay, doesn't matter. Just gonna show you that it works. This is good for testing purposes. Let's do it like that. Cool. So let's go through this process again. And it's probably going to go wrong here. Oh, it didn't, because it's replacing the wrong thing. Let's see. Is it or not? Let's have a look. We changed the ID here, double checking again that it corresponds to this, ends in JM. Okay, so we're copying the right file. And now we're going to replace the doc text with the actual data. Cool. So I did that. Let's check what we did. Okay, unknown from unknown because it comes from another shitty transcript. But you're going to see that everything is here. The same way we did it for the presentation, now we have it for the Google Doc. You see, it has everything. Automated retrieval, stuff like that, right? Cool. As I said, this is from a shitty transcript. But anyways, you can do the same with the Google Doc. The great thing, guys, is that this is all for free. There's an alternative called PandaDocs, but I'm pretty sure you can do just fine with the free version, right? With the Google Doc. Anyways, we sent an email. I'm gonna go through that, but you get the idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything in the video. Hopefully with that, and the resources I'm gonna leave in the description, you should be able to build your own automated proposal AI system. Okay, cool. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something valuable from it. You can use this to automatically create proposals very quickly, and I'm pretty sure you'll have an impact on the lead. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button and follow. It really helps the channel a lot. And yeah, if you didn't like the video for some reason, let me know why in the comments below. It's also really great feedback. If you want to see any other stuff on n8n or any other tools, please let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I had to say. I'm getting hungry, so I'm probably gonna go grab some food. Okay, so yeah, have a good rest of the day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.